Hi, I'm Alex McCrickard, and this is the fishing report for the month of November in Virginia. In this month's fishing report, we're going to highlight tactics and techniques for targeting chain pickerel as we transition into cooler fall weather. November has been a really wet month, and recent heavy rain events have left a lot of our rivers and streams in high flood stage condition across the state. However, anglers that have been targeting their efforts on still water and focusing on lakes and reservoirs have still been able to find fish. In this month's report, we are at Little Creek Reservoir in James City County. Little Creek Reservoir is a water supply reservoir for the city of Newport News and is 947 acres when at full pool. The reservoir is located in Toano and a great option for anglers who live in the Williamsburg metropolitan area. Little Creek Reservoir is deep and clear with steep banks and limited bank structure. The reservoir is currently drawn down some for repair work on the dam. The combination of recent DWR sampling along with angler reports have revealed an abundance of chain pickerel present with numerous year classes of recruitment observed. Of course, anglers will catch a higher proportion of pickerel in the 14 to 18 inch range, but the chance of finding larger specimens in the 20 to 24 inch range is always possible when fishing off the deeper break lines and drop-offs. Chain pickerel are one of my favorite species to target on rod and reel, and these fish remain very active during the cooler months of the year and can be found in shallow water from late fall through early spring. You can find chain pickerel orienting to structure along the banks, prowling through vegetated flats, or ambushing prey along freshwater marshes. On Little Creek Reservoir, we found fish feeding on hydrilla flats in coves on the western portion of the reservoir.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? We're out on Little Creek Reservoir catching some chain pickerel up on the hydrilla edges. The reservoir's down about 10 foot or so for some repair work on the dam, so it leaves a lot of exposed area with some of the hydrilla flats. This pickerel here, right as soon as that lure landed, he was already twitch bait, boom, he pounced on it. Nice sized chain pickerel. We're going to measure here in a little bit, probably about 17, 18 inches or so. One of the native predator fish that are out here on a lot of the reservoirs and lakes in Virginia. Pretty much a lion weight predator. Will come fast and will strike hard and put up a decent little fight. Nice pickerel. Long torpedo shaped body. You can see kind of like the duck-billed jaws that it has. You don't want to be lipping these guys. They got some sharp teeth, so try your best to handle the fish with wet hands. We're gonna get a quick measurement on this guy, see how it goes. 455 millimeters, so about just shy of about 18 inches or so. Nice fish here. See the teeth maybe possibly there. Boom. I'm gonna let this fish go here in a little bit.
Another nice chain pickerel out here on Little Creek Reservoir. A lot of these fish are just holding in the edges of the hydrilla flats. They're coming out of the cover and eating. This one's got some great markings. You can really see that chain-like marking down the side of the fish really well. They got a deeply forked tail. Again, these guys are closely related to northern pike and muskellunge. They're in the same genus Esox, but this is kind of like the southern swamp cousin. Kind of how I think of them, but very prevalent native fish here. We'll let this guy go. Just kind of gently cradle him in the water. Great markings though. Really pretty fish in the sun there. You can see they also have a very distinct black bar underneath their eye, behind their jaw here, which is another kind of distinguishing trait. We'll let this guy go. There he goes.
We caught that pickerel on this lure here. It's a twitch bait. Dives a little bit under the surface, but about a foot or so. Just basically, erratic retrieve to it, kind of slashing back and forth. You don't want to go too deep here, in terms of snagging some of the hydrilla, but enough to keep that flash on the surface, the upper foot of the water column. Attractive lure, some of these twitch baits for pickerel. You can catch bass on them too as well.
Some of the lures we like throwing for chain pickerel are really flashy. Some of the, like this lipless crankbait or any of these lipped crankbaits that have a little bit of flash, really tends to get the pickerel going. Soft plastic fluke on a 1/4 ounce jig head can work well. You can see we got a lot of flash on the back side of that. And if you fly fish, flashy clouser minnows with jig heads tend to work well, or anything with a lot of tinsel on here that is particularly flashy gets the pickerel's attention. And then these multi-sectioned game changers, Blaine chocolate pattern, work really well, obviously for smallmouth bass and some of the larger size ones for muskie, but pickerel really like the action of this fly as well. While Little Creek Reservoir has an abundance of chain pickerel, there also are a lot of other fish species that you can target when fishing here as well. This reservoir has a great population of largemouth bass, in addition to black crappie, red ear sunfish, and bluegill. There's a lot of forage out here for the fish assemblage on Little Creek Reservoir. We have lots of blueback herring in addition to golden shiners, which sets the fishery up pretty well. And as an agency, we actually stock this reservoir with striped bass in addition to walleye and saugai. So it really provides a diverse opportunity for anglers, which makes it such a destination here in the Williamsburg area. James City County Parks and Rec has a great fishing pier for accessing Little Creek Reservoir. Also, there's a boat ramp, and it's important to note that it's trolling motor only. No gas motors are allowed here on the reservoir. So this caters really well to anglers that have a John boat with trolling motor. Is perfect. However, if you have a canoe, a kayak, or I've got a raft that I like to fish out of, it caters really well to that as well. Thanks for tuning in to this month's Fishing Report. If you have any questions about chain pickerel, please comment below. We'll be happy to answer them. And with the holidays upon us, if you have a special angler in your life, check out virginiawildlife.gov/shop. We've got a lot of great options for the holiday season, some great gifts that you can look into. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the water.